On the morning of Tuesday, May 29, 1453, in the city of Constantinople, Emperor Constantine XI stood on the Great Walls and watched the death of an empire. He had been on the throne for 4 years. He had reigned over a state that had been steadily contracting for a century. The Eastern Roman Empire, which he and his contemporaries simply called the Empire of the Romans, was reduced by 1453 to the city of Constantinople itself, a small piece of territory along the southern shore of the Black Sea, and the southernmost tip of Greece. Everywhere else, the lands that had been Roman for over 1,000 years were now part of the Ottoman state. Constantinople had survived 23 previous sieges in its 1123-year history. Goths, Persians, Arabs, Avars, Bulgars, Russians, Italians, and other Turks had all besieged it. Always the city had survived. Its triple walls, built by Theodosius II in the 5th century, were considered the strongest defensive fortifications in human history. They had held back the most determined attackers of the medieval world for 1,000 years. On May 29, 1453, they fell. The army that took them was led by 21-year-old Sultan Mehmed II, the most ambitious Ottoman ruler of his time. He had brought to the siege a new technology that the Theodosian walls had never been designed to face: gunpowder cannons. The largest of them, called the Basilica, was 27 feet long and could fire a stone ball weighing 1,200 pounds. Mehmed had commissioned it from a Hungarian engineer named Orban. 6 oxen were required to move it. After 53 days of bombardment, the walls were breached. The Ottomans poured into the city. By evening, Constantinople was a Turkish city. The Eastern Roman Empire had ended. To understand the fall, you have to understand what was being lost. The Empire of the Romans was the direct continuation of the Roman Empire founded by Augustus in 27 BC. The western half of that empire had collapsed in 476 AD. The eastern half had continued in Constantinople, which Constantine the Great had founded as the new imperial capital in 330 AD. For 1,023 years after the fall of Rome, the Eastern Roman emperors continued the unbroken Roman political tradition. They wrote in Greek. They followed Eastern Orthodox Christianity. They preserved Greek and Roman classical literature. They were called the Byzantine Empire only by later European scholars. To themselves, they were always simply the Romans. By 1453, the empire was a shadow of its former self. The Fourth Crusade in 1204 had captured and looted Constantinople, weakening it permanently. Successive losses to Turkish, Slavic, and Latin powers over the following 2 centuries had reduced its territory to a few enclaves. By 1450, perhaps 50,000 people lived within Constantinople's walls, a city designed for 500,000. The Ottoman Empire had been founded in the late 1200s in northwestern Anatolia. By the early 15th century, it had absorbed most of the Balkans and most of Anatolia. Constantinople was an isolated Roman island in an Ottoman sea. The Ottomans had attempted to take it before. Sultan Bayezid I had besieged it in 1394 to 1402 without success. Mehmed II was determined to succeed where his predecessors had failed. He came to the throne in 1451 and immediately began preparations. He built a great fortress called Ramela Hisari on the European shore of the Bosphorus, sealing the strait that brought supplies to Constantinople from the Black Sea. He commissioned Orban's cannons. He assembled an army of perhaps 80,000 soldiers. He gathered a fleet of 300 ships. He arrived before the city walls in early April 1453. The defenders inside Constantinople numbered perhaps 7,000 professional soldiers, plus a few thousand additional volunteers and Italian mercenaries. They were vastly outnumbered. The Genoese